Okay, it is the next morning. I've just woken up, so I didn't put any makeup on. But I'm gonna go ahead and prep breakfast for my kiddos for today, as well as double up and make a couple more breakfasts to last us the next couple of days. We should probably only be in here for the weekend, and then maybe, well, yeah, in like 2 days-ish. Willing, everything goes as planned. As you can see, I have a ton still left to pack up. I haven't packed the kitchen up at all. It was my intention to do the kitchen last. You're not here for that. You can catch up on all that in movie vlogs, but let's get breakfast going. The first thing I'm gonna make is baked oatmeal, but I'm gonna make it into oatmeal cups. So I'm gonna double up my baked oatmeal recipe and then put them into cupcakes or small molds. So in here, I already have 2.5 cups of oats. These are just regular, I think these are quick cooking oats, but then I used up my jar and had to refill my jar. When I went to refill the jar, I found that the next oats on rotation are still cut oats. So we're gonna mix them and see how it comes out. I'm gonna put in another 2.5 cups. This is a 1/2 cup measurement, so that's why it's gonna be multiple times. So I'm gonna put in another 2.5 because like I said, we're gonna double the recipe here. So that's 1 cup. We're gonna put in 2 eggs, 3 cups of milk. This is 2, I gotta grab 1 more cup here. As I'm doubling the recipe, I'm gonna put in 1/2 cup of sweetener. You could do sugar, you could do honey, you could do whatever sweetener, maple syrup, whichever one you would like to do. I'm just using sugar because that's what was first in my pantry. When I add chocolate chips, I will cut that sugar in half because I feel like the chocolate chips add more. But if you were doing a single serving of this, you could add 1/2 cup to it. But when I add in chocolate chips, I will half that. So I'll only put it in 1/4 cup if I'm doing chocolate chip oatmeal bake, because I feel like the sweet from the chocolate chip is enough for my kiddos for a single serving. But because I'm doubling this serving up, I went ahead and just did a whole 1/2 cup. I'm gonna mix this up and then we'll put in the mixings. Okay, and then I'm gonna put these into some molds. So either cupcake liners, I've done cupcake liners, I've done different types of silicone molds, which is what I think I'll use today. I think I'm gonna use these mini loaf pans for this today. Yes, my pans are stained, it's okay. They still work. So I'll put these down and scoop those in. This serving cup is 1/3, so you can kind of see how much we're getting in these mini loaf. You can just bake them like this, plain, and then the morning of, put your toppings that you want on, or you can, what I think I'm gonna do is do 1 tray with blueberry maybe, and 1 tray with chocolate chips. But we've done, I mean, there's just, you can go on Pinterest and find a ton of different ways to make baked oats and make it different flavors for your family. There's like carrot, we've done apple, like an apple cinnamon with fresh apples, and or apples that are starting to go soft. That's a good way to use them up too. And then just sprinkle some cinnamon in there. We've done just plain cinnamon and sugar. There's just a ton. Think of your favorite way to eat oats. You could do raisins, just whatever your little heart desires. This step is not necessary, but I just kind of like to mix it in so that you get a little bit in each bite instead of one just big blob on top. Of course, you could just mix it in the bowl too if you were doing all one flavor, but because I wanted to give a little bit of variety, I just did it in the cups here. This also is a great way to get your kiddos in the kitchen too, because it's a super simple recipe, but you could make them into little things like this and have them pick out their toppings before you bake it. Okay, and these will go in the oven at 350 for 25 minutes. Okay, the next thing is these Grinch muffins. We've made them before on here. I'm gonna go through it super quickly. In here is, these were overripe bananas, and I just smashed them up, and then I put them in a freezer bag and had them in my freezer. So I have them in here because I didn't thaw them out ahead of time, but I also need to put in 1/4 cup of oil. I'm going to use coconut oil, and because it is cooling down here, my coconut oil is solid. So since I got to warm that up to melt it down anyways, I threw in the bananas to kind of make that a little softer as well. I will be completely honest, I have made this recipe just using the frozen mashed bananas. Each time I make it, my consistency is a little bit different, but they still taste delicious. So if you have fresh ripe bananas, it will work. If you have some stored away in your freezer, you can thaw it out, or you can warm it up this way, or you can even just toss it in the blender altogether. I'm gonna put this on my stove and let this start to warm up. This time around, I'm gonna use some egg whites instead of fresh eggs, just because we're running a little bit low on eggs, and I have an egg white carton that's already opened. So I'm just, I don't know, it's just whichever way the wind blows with me. I leave the milk out because I find with this recipe especially, I sometimes have to add more depending, like I said, how my consistency is. Honey, also you could melt this, but I'm gonna put it in because my pan, I think it's gonna overflow if I put the honey in there to melt as well. Vanilla extract. This recipe I did not double. Apple cider vinegar, try not to spill it all over the place like me. Cinnamon. Spinach, I have some frozen spinach here. She says 1 to 2 cups. Because this is frozen and I kind of smashed it around, you probably don't even need that much. I'm sorry, she says 1 to 2 handfuls. I'll link the recipe for you. Okay, this will be my first time making this, or attempting to make this, with steel cut oats. So this will be an experiment because I've never done it with the steel cut oats. We're gonna put in some baking soda, and then here is the bananas and oil. Okay, and these I am going to put into cupcake liners. I ended up getting 1.5 dozen muffins from this. I am gonna add chocolate chips to this one as well. We like to use the mini chocolate chips because you can see we do a lot of baking with them. I don't feel bad about adding the chocolate chips in because there's spinach in here, so it cancels each other out, right? So same thing, gonna put them in, give it a little mix. They don't look appetizing at all, but I promise, well, I can't promise with the steel cut oats, but I promise with regular oats, they are tasty. And of course, the chocolate chips are optional. You don't have to do that. We've done chocolate chips. We've added walnuts on top. I like to use like a small measuring spoon when I put in chocolate chips in like this, because then you more or less are getting the same in each muffin. You could, again, like I said, just after you blended it up, put it in a bowl and fold the chocolate chips in, but I find that this works out too. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and try to make one more thing here. I was gonna call it done, but so this is just our pancake recipe. In here I have a cup of all-purpose flour and a cup of wheat flour. When my husband makes it, he likes to make like regular pancakes on the griddle and use all-purpose flour, and of course the kids love that, but mom likes to sneak in a little bit of the wheat flour. So I'm gonna put that in, I just give it a good mix. Then I'm gonna put in 2 tablespoons of baking powder. I always double this recipe, so this is the doubled amount. Salt. Sugar, again, I have subbed this with honey and it works just as well. I'm gonna give this a good whisk. 2 eggs. This one I am gonna use eggs for, whole eggs. Milk. And then I melted 4 tablespoons of coconut oil. Yep, I just melted it in the same pan. It's okay if there's a tiny bit of banana that went in there. I'm sure it'll taste fine. And then we're gonna mix this all up. Okay, I have never made it in, my thinking was a sheet pan, but I only have one smaller sheet pan with ridges on the edge, you know, like a lip. So I think in this casserole dish, it'll be fine. But I have made the pancakes just as regular pancakes, you know, on the griddle. And then we have also made pancake muffins, just the same mix, but put it in muffin tins. This time around, I'm gonna put it in here. I'm just oiling it. This is a little bit bigger than a 9 by 13. This, I'm covering it up what it says, but it's like the next size up. Thinking we're not gonna fill it all the way to the brim, just make a small layer and make a makeshift sheet pan. Okay, I have a little bit more, so I'm gonna do a second pan, a smaller one, but because I don't want to fill it too high up because I want to make sure it cooks all the way through. It is getting later in the morning. It is, no, there's a minute, 24 seconds left. I almost said it's 1:30. It's 9:45. I don't even know what time it was when I started. It was definitely after 8. But my baked oats are done. They're cooling here. The kids have decided they want to have the Grinch muffins, or the they're technically called green smoothie muffins. I will try to remember to link all these recipes that I can down below for you. But I wanted to give those a little bit more time since that's what they're gonna eat today. Oh my goodness, I need to finish my coffee. I did end up washing the dishes, and then I put the first tray of pancakes inside to cook as well. My second one I just did in a pie dish, but it doesn't fit in the oven right now. I'm gonna grab the roast for dinner tonight, put it in the slow cooker, let that go, because today I think we're gonna pack up. Okay, everything is out of the oven now. We did have 1.5 dozen of these, but this is what my kids ate for lunch. And these, what I would do is, my kids liked them with the still cut oats anyways, but if you wanted a finer, it has like almost like a nutty texture, like because the still cut oats, you could grind it into flour first and then it would give more of a muffin type texture. But like I said, my kids liked it. It was something different. And so they ate them up. They ate 7 of them. And then this is what the pancakes ended up coming out looking like. They are still cooling, but they were excited to see a different form. Sometimes it's just a different shape and it just makes all the difference in the world. And then here's like the pancake pie one. So I'll just cut these. I'm gonna let them cool and then cut them up, and then we'll have breakfast set. I also have the baked oat bars done too, and then all the dinners from the night before. So that's gonna do it for me. Thanks so much for hanging out with me and coming alongside us on this journey. We're almost at the finish line. Almost. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, would you be sure to give it a thumbs up? And if you're not a subscriber, maybe consider joining our little family here so you don't miss any of our inspiration amongst the chaos. And if you haven't heard, or maybe you just need to be reminded, maybe the one to tell you that you are deeply and truly loved and so appreciated. I truly appreciate you spending your time and hanging out with us here. Honestly, it means the world to us. Thanks so much for watching.